on your magnificent smallness. I stood outside last evening, long after I should have gone to bed, looking up. The sky was absurdly generous with its stars, as it sometimes is when the air is cold and clear, and I found myself laughing at nothing in particular, just at the sheer, ridiculous improbability of standing on this turning ground, under all that immensity, with warm blood in my veins and breath in my lungs. I write to you today about something that most people run from, and that I have come to love. I want to talk to you about being small. We spend a remarkable portion of our lives trying to be large. We want to be noticed, remembered, significant. We want our work to outlast us, our names to be spoken after we are gone, our suffering to have meant something grand. And I understand this impulse entirely. I have felt it myself, that desperate hunger to matter. But I have begun to suspect it is one of the great misunderstandings of a human life. Not because you do not matter, you do, profoundly, but because mattering was never something you needed to earn. Consider for a moment the sheer comedy of it. Here we are, creatures on a small blue stone circling a middling star in one arm of a galaxy so vast that light itself needs 100,000 years to cross it. And on this stone, you and I worry about whether our remarks at dinner were clever enough, whether our work will be remembered next season, whether the right people have noticed our efforts. I say this not to mock us. I say it because it is genuinely endearing. We are like ants fretting over the precise arrangement of a crumb, and I confess I find it impossible not to feel a kind of tender, bewildered amusement at the whole enterprise. We are a charming species, if nothing else. But here is what I truly want you to hear. When you stop insisting upon your own largeness, something extraordinary happens. The world gets larger instead. Have you ever watched the sun come up when you had no appointment to keep, no ambition pressing at your back? The light does not arrive all at once. It seeps. It suggests. First, the faintest silver along the edge of things, then a slow, golden warmth that touches the tops of trees well before it reaches you. When you are not busy being important, you can actually see this. When you release the exhausting project of significance, your senses come back to you like old friends you had been neglecting. The smell of bread cooling on the counter. The sound of wind moving through dry grass. The particular way someone you love tilts their head when they are truly listening to you. These are not consolation prizes for a small life. They are the life itself. I think the fear of being small is really a fear of disappearing. We believe that if we are not large enough, bright enough, accomplished enough, we will simply be swallowed by the darkness and forgotten. But consider the stars you admired last night. You do not know their names. Many of them burned out long before your grandparents drew their first breath. Their light is a memory, traveling across unthinkable distances to reach your eye for a single, fleeting instant. And in that instant, were they not beautiful? Was that not sufficient? You do not need to burn forever to have been luminous. There is a particular kind of freedom that arrives when you stop performing your life and simply begin to live it. I have watched people exhaust themselves building monuments to their own importance, stacking up accomplishments like stones on a cairn, and when you look closely into their eyes, you find someone who has not tasted their food in years. They have not felt rain on their face because they were too busy calculating whether the rain was falling on the right people, at the right time, in the right place for it to reflect well on them. Meanwhile, somewhere nearby, a child is leaping into puddles with an ecstasy that would humble any philosopher. The child is not thinking about legacy. The child is simply wet and delighted and entirely here. There is a lesson in this if we are willing to be taught by someone who has not yet learned to tie their shoes. You might wonder whether I am urging you toward laziness or indifference. I am not. There is a vast difference between embracing smallness and choosing surrender. What I am suggesting is that you do your work, love your people, tend your corner of the world, and release the need for any of it to be monumental. Plant your garden because the tomatoes will be extraordinary in August, not because you need someone to drive past and admire your rose. Write your letter because the words in it are true, not because you need them preserved in marble. Help the person beside you because they are struggling, not because you require the story of your kindness to be retold at gatherings. I have noticed that work done without the weight of self-importance is lighter. It is also, I have found, considerably better. Nature understands this perfectly and without instruction. A single wildflower blooming at the edge of a field does not petition for attention. It does not campaign to be the most remembered bloom of the season. It opens because opening is simply what it does, and in that quiet act it feeds the bee, who tends the hive, who pollinates the orchard, whose fruit fills a bowl on your table some morning in early autumn, when the light is golden and the coffee is warm, and you have, for once, nowhere pressing to be. Everything small participates in something vast. You are no different. Your kindness ripples, your patience teaches, your attention blesses. None of it needs to be carved into history to be real. And here is perhaps the most wonderful part of all. When you allow yourself to be small, you become capable of genuine wonder. The person who insists they are the center of every room cannot truly be astonished, because astonishment requires that something be greater than you are. But the person who walks into the evening knowing they are a brief, fortunate visitor on an ancient world, that person can look up and feel their chest tighten with something that is not quite sadness and not quite joy, but gratitude. Gratitude for having been here at all. For the unlikely, improbable gift of consciousness in a universe that owed you no such courtesy. For the warmth of a hand held in yours, the taste of cold water after long work, the absurd and marvelous fact that you can close your eyes right now and summon the face of someone you love with perfect clarity. So let yourself be small, my friend. Not defeated, not diminished. Just honestly, joyfully, magnificently small. Let the universe be enormous around you and marvel at what it contains. You have this one brief, luminous life. You do not need it to be loud. You need it to be yours. Go outside tonight if the sky is clear. Look up for a while. And if you find yourself laughing at nothing in particular, you will know exactly what I mean.